Hello YouTube, this is Dazzathecameraman. Today is Thursday, April 27th, 2017, New Zealand time. And I'm very pleased to have with me the truth nerd himself, Jeff. Welcome, Jeff.
Hey, Dazza. How are you doing, Dazza?
I'm very good, thank you. And we're doing this little hangout to discuss magic in the trees. Ooh, that sounds interesting. And the recent videos by Chris Potter claiming to show what aren't lens flares behind the trees. So Jeff has done some very good videos recently and kept us all very entertained with Chris Potter. And so we're going to talk some more about those videos and what we are and what we aren't seeing in those videos. So Jeff, would you like to expand on that for me, please?
Yeah, there's I guess most people know there's kind of been a little ongoing saga between Dazza and I and Factor Fiction team, Tony Matthews and Twiggy, Tiffany the Queen, Sean White, Paul Rogers. We've got some back behind the scenes people, Susie, Charisse, and it's kind of been a little back and forth going on with the videos, and we've been kind of disclosing some information on Scott Cohn, and we've been calling Chris Potter out on all his, I guess, kind of bullying ways. And the latest was he seemed real happy. I think it was yesterday or the day before about some video that he got showing Planet X or the brown dwarf or whatever they're calling it these days behind a tree limb. And I guess to someone that doesn't know much about cameras and videos and things like that, it did look pretty convincing. I can see where Chris could get fooled. I would think he would know better at this point. He's been looking at this stuff for well over a year now.
Well, he was pretty emphatic, I have to say.
Oh yeah, he was excited, boy. It was in our face, and yeah, I want to see you debunk this, and let's see your video, and troll this and troll that. And
he sure got what he asked for, didn't he?
He did, and he said never in our lifetime would we be able to come up with a debunk for that one. And unfortunately, I do have a family, and I had to work and everything, so I couldn't do it right away. But within 36 hours, it definitely wasn't a lifetime. I got the video up, and we showed the truth, and I didn't even have to debunk the second one with Danny G, because Kevo from Right Side Up, he had already done that. So he said it was cool if I used part of his video for that. So yep, that was real easy. So
a big shout out to Kevo at Right Side Up on YouTube. Head over there and subscribe to his channel. He's doing some awesome work there. Thank you, Kevo. And I should just say at this point too that I'm really very disappointed because Chris Potter, who tells us that he does not lie to his subscribers, only just a few days ago uploaded a video and told all his subscribers that he was going to be away for 10 days because he was going on vacation to New Zealand. Well, I'm very disappointed because I was looking forward to meeting Chris Potter. I was going to invite him to go for a tour of the observatory, and I was going to show him all around. We're going to look at the sky and, you know, discuss Nibiru and Planet X and lens flares. But it seems that he's still at home turning out videos. So I don't know what happened to his vacation in New Zealand, but all I can say is I'm very disappointed. So Chris Potter, if you ever do make it to New Zealand, please be sure to let me know, look me up, and let's get together, and maybe we can sit down and have a respectful, gentlemanly chat about Nibiru, Planet X, and all the surrounding.
I don't think he could find a babysitter for his bunny.
Ah, well, that could be a problem, I guess. Oh, well. Now, I see that we have been joined by Tony from Fact or Fiction. Welcome along, Tony.
Hi, thank you very much for having me.
Thanks for joining us. Now, Jeff, would you like to share in your video? Are you geared up to do that right now so we can take a look at what we're discussing?
Sure. Let's see.
Now, as I mentioned to Jeff off air, the videos that we're looking at, whether we're looking at Jeff's video or Chris Potter's video, is being used here under the terms of fair use, which is quite acceptable under copyright law. I should warn that I have had several copyright strikes over the history of my channel, and not one of them has been successful, because I have counted them all on the grounds of fair use. And if I do receive a copyright strike, then I will counter that one as well. So anytime you're ready there, Jeff, if you want to share your screen, and we'll take a look at the video.
All right, I just shared the screen.
Okay, I'll present you to all.
All righty. And here is the video that quickly got a response from Mr. Potter this morning.
Now, I'm not hearing any sound on that.
Oh, no?
Nope. Might need to turn on your line or whatever in your sound mixer. Or you can just talk us through it.
Let me
Shame
see.
on Chris, though.
Is your video on mute, Jeff?
Let's see. I don't think so. Let's try. You guys hear it now?
Nope.
Nope.
Technical issue.
I think you can basically talk us through it. I think everybody who needs to know has seen it.
Yep, just talk us through it. It's a shame that we're not hearing Chris Potter, though, because that was quite entertaining.
Okay. Yeah, Chris is just talking about how the video was going to make all the trolls mad.
Jeff, can you pull it up so it's full screen, please? I want to just play it as a public video.
I'm having technical. Let me try that again. Seem to be having technical difficulties.
Yeah, always have the gremlins. Now, if we're on the other side, of course, we'd be saying, "Oh, it's the powers that be. You know, they're hacking our computers and causing technical difficulties for us because that's what they do."
Right.
Yes, I'll try Queen. I'll look into that. Oh dear.
So yeah, Chris is just discussing how we could never prove a lens flare through the trees, and now he's a little sad because we're showing pictures of lens flares through trees. And all I did basically here, he thought that we used some type of stabilizer tool, but really all I did was use the cropping tool in my video editing program, and I just blew up the image bigger. And I mean, it's clear that the trees are, you can see the limbs through the trees. And then what I did is I just used my Photoshop and I adjusted all the levels so you could kind of see the limb through there. And then I just sort of show how the two branches connect and everything. And basically just busted it with a little bit of zooming and just some common sense. When you can see the top of a branch and the bottom of a branch and a big blob covering it, I mean, it is what it is. It's definitely in front of the limb, and it's no big magic secret. Then he moves on to the Danny Garcia video here. And
It's quite animated there.
this
isn't
one
it?
had already been debunked by Right Side Up. And it's, you know, all it is just a simple offset lens reflection, which Kevo explains how the, you know, these cameras have multiple pieces of glass, and the light comes in, a, you know, bright light source like that, and it bounces off the pieces of glass, and it basically just reflects what they call a ghost image right back onto the sensor. And it is definitely believable. You know, it really looks realistic. I've done it myself. I've done videos on it. You can move your camera or your phone or everything all around, and a lot of times that thing just it doesn't move, or it moves so slightly that you can't even see it. But it's a very common thing. And I mean, once you start seeing them, I get into debates all the time in different Facebook groups, and you know, people see this and they just totally believe it. And but I mean, once you learn what to look for, it's real easy to pick out, and it's frustrating when people can't see it. It makes it kind of frustrating for those of us that can, because, you know, to the trained eye, it's so simple to see. But
It's enough to
I
make
guess, you know,
If I could sort of just interject in there, please.
So what was
is
it?
that what I found, if I could just interject there, please, if I can.
go ahead.
What I found most funny about the Chris Potter challenge in regards to the ghost image is how beforehand we have seen him in a few videos where he's spoken about trolls, and he's always maintained that he's had respect and some sort of credibility to Kevo from Right Side Up. And obviously, I don't know if you've seen them videos, Dazza, but you know, he does say, you know, that this Kevo, you know, if you're looking for an alternative view, go watch him, you know. And Kevo covered these, obviously the tree branch one, about a month or two ago, and
Yeah.
obviously covered the Danny Garcia about 4 weeks ago. So for him then to release this video, when did he release it? Was it last night or something?
I think just
I
the
just
day
found
before.
it amusing because, you know, if he's really watching Kevo, and like he says he does, and he respects his work, he would have seen for himself that it is possible to get ghost reflections, you know, behind branches and stuff like that. So yet again, you've got to wonder, does he actually watch the material, you know, or is it just words that he's just coming out with?
I think it's a whole lot of hype. I don't, you know, Tony, I sit back and I really think about these guys, you know, like Jeff P and Chris and Arwin Steiger, who, you know, I was actually friends with for quite a while, before it just seemed like he just was doing it all for entertainment or something. But you know, some of these guys, I wonder, are they sincere? Do they really believe what they're seeing? And it's a real struggle, because I want to believe that they believe, but when it's so obvious, I don't know if they actually truly believe what they're putting out there. I find it hard, especially a guy like Cone. I mean, Cone just seems real insincere about the whole thing. I mean, just
yeah. I just have to say on Scott Cone, you know, I actually believe that he was sincere at the start. You know, he joined me and Astronomy Live for that initial hangout, and we had a very good hangout. We all felt very positive about it. We went away feeling very happy, thought we had actually achieved something. And then, of course, he pulled his stunt, inventing that story about being in contact with those two professors of astronomy from Pittsburgh University, which was all a big lie, which he admitted. He tried to call my bluff. So he proved right then how insincere he is. As for Chris Potter, well, you know, I don't know what to make of Chris. Does he really believe it? I don't know. But the thing that I find sad is that if these people are sincere, if Chris Potter is sincere, then surely he would want to collaborate with people to try and get to the truth. I'd be more than happy to be quite respectful to Chris Potter And that's an invitation to you, Chris, if you're listening. I'd be quite happy to talk to you one-to-one or even in a hangout, very respectfully, very polite, without being rude to you. Just as Astronomy Live and I were respectful to Scott Cohn at their very first hangout. Scott Cohn even said that we were like gentlemen to him. We treated him with respect, and I would do the same for you, Chris Potter. So if you're really there, then
that's the thing that gets me, Dazza, is guys, you know, like you and myself and Sean Hufford and Astronomy Live and even Tony, for the most part, is a nice, respectable guy. I mean, I know Tony can get a little worked up sometimes, but I mean, the majority of us, we are respectful and we are nice guys and we are polite and we don't curse and they try to call us trolls and we're mean and we're bullying and we're doing all this stuff. You know, the only cussing that I have on my channel is from those guys.
Absolutely.
The only yelling and screaming I have on my channel is from those guys.
Absolutely.
I mean, how can they tell us we're these big bullies when we're sitting here right now talking like gentlemen? Every time I've ever heard you talk with Scott Cohn, you've been a gentleman. And I don't understand how these guys can keep pointing the finger and saying we're the bullies and we're the bad guys and we're the ones making death threats and we're the ones that are doing all this evil stuff. But it's just the complete opposite. And I've probably got 100 screenshots of Scott Cohn just ridiculing people, and you know, like Sarah Smile, he calls her, you know, just disturbing things like, you know, that she's overweight and she's ugly and all this stuff, and he you know, they use the N-word, and you know, we've got Tiffany in our group who is black, and you know, it frustrates me so bad, and you know, and that's why I do what I do in the videos, to make them just look like complete idiots, because that's how they're acting. They're acting like children, and it really irritates me. It really ticks me off. Sorry to interject and interrupt, but I mean, it's frustrating.
No, well said, Jeff, and I totally agree with all of those comments. I think you summed that up pretty well. And I think my screen is sharing okay, so I'm not sure how my sound is going to go, but let's give it a try and see if we can hear this video. Is it coming through?
Well, it's a lot better.
Yep.
Okay, in the chat, can you let me know how that's going, please?
This video is absolutely going to piss off the trolls, and I don't care, because we're right and you are friggin' wrong. A lens flare or ghost image appears behind the friggin' trees. Since never. Yeah, a lens flare behind the trees, right? What are you going to come up with next? In your face.
Oh, the theatrics.
Behind the trees. In your face. Trolls, you're wrong. This footage proves it. Stop lying to yourself.
Stop lying to yourself. Stop lying to yourself.
Yeah, who's lying to himself?
Stop lying to yourself. Stop lying to yourself.
This is my response. You're wrong. Since when did a friggin' camera problem happen behind the trees? Stop lying to yourself. I want you guys to know that this is real.
I mean, I will just go over and over. You're a troll, you're a liar, period, the end. You can't handle the fact that, yeah, lens flares happen behind the trees.
And I got Danny G's back, too, because look, he opens it and closes it. Yeah, a ghost image
like their buddies.
is going to let it see. You're a friggin' liar. You're a troll. Whoever says anything different, this is in your face. You cannot deny this any friggin' longer.
Hey everyone, this is Kevo for Right Side Up. The image that is being claimed to be a planet is a ghost image of the sun, appearing on one of the layers within the lens system, including any filters or covers.
Friggin' liar. you're a troll.
When we take a look at a shot from the front and a shot from the back, we can determine by the angles associated with the houses that the camera is fairly level in both shots. When the shots are matched up, though, you see that the alleged planet has changed its position.
Friggin' liar. You're a troll.
The reason that it has changed positions is because between filming in the front and moving to the back, Danny Garcia has unknowingly or otherwise moved the filter that he has over the lens.
Simple sun filter from my big camera.
Stop.
Put that over my iPhone 6 Plus.
When the angle of the surface of the filter changes in relation to the lens of the camera,
Friggin' liar.
then the position of the ghost image will change accordingly.
Phenomena.
Yes,
This
it's
is
enough to
not a
make you
game.
cry.
Phenomena.
Jerry Bell gave me this idea.
Phenomena.
You trolls have nothing on us. Ever. And I'm never going to shut up about this. Ever. You trolls are wrong. You are paid to screw around with people like me.
And I thought it'd be great to show some solidarity for this part as he was dogging the whole truther community. So I figured I'd throw out as many truthers as I could think of.
Absolutely.
Let's
Pleased to see that.
your rebuttal. Because you ain't going to come up with one ever in this life or the next. In your face, trolls. Have a blessed day. And I hope for everyone's sake you fall off the face of this planet because you people are
Oh, I wonder if he's a flat earther.
nothing to You
But
can't
yeah,
blame
and what a rebuttal that you came out with, because that was a pure kick in the lower region.
again. Thank you. Bye.
Phenomenal.
He actually did a retraction today, didn't he?
I was humming that all day.
So we've got to give him a bit of credit there. Fair play to him, you know, because obviously he watched the video. He did make a retraction video, but he was still harping on that. We were trying to make him out to be a liar and stuff like that. Which,
Yeah.
if you look on most of the Truther channel's videos, we actually haven't bothered Chris Potter for some time. If you look at each and every one of the Truther channels, there isn't a video dedicated to him or debunking any of his work, because we've been sort of like fixating on Cohn. So his argument there is flawed. It was him that came out in the open and challenged us, and obviously he got his just desserts.
Absolutely, he did. He put the challenge out there, and Jeff met that challenge very, very ably. And yeah, it was very good to see the solidarity there that you showed for all of the different debunking groups and individuals there, Jeff. That was really nice to see.
Yeah,
Well,
it's,
if
I think
can
it's
just quickly,
important.
sorry,
You know?
go on, Jeff.
No, I just think it's important that that we all stick together. I mean, I know there was some issues last week, you know, between Daz and Logan and whatnot, but I think it's important that, I mean, we're all in this ultimately for the same reason. We all do it differently. We all have our styles. Guys like Kevo and myself, you know, and Thought and Memory, you know, we do things a little more on the funny, quirky side. And you've got your technical people like Dazza and Astronomy Live, and then you've got your passionate dudes like Logan, and we all do it differently. But ultimately, at the end of the day, we're all out for the same thing. We're all fighting the same war, and that's what it is. I mean, that's what it is. And I mean, you know, we're the little guys. Each one of us individually isn't much. You know, a couple hundred here, a couple hundred there. You know, as far as subscribers go, but you know, when we all come together and we all, you know, share each other's stuff and get the word out there and support each other and everything, then we become an army. Then we're a force to reckon with, and it's hard for them to just walk all over us at that point, because now we've got many voices, and I think it's just.
Oh, Jeff's dropped out. Okay.
He'll reconnect back in.
Join us in just a minute. So, yeah. So Tony, let's.
Yeah, as before, I was just going to say, well, we actually, Fact and Fiction actually did 2 videos on this. We're going to post the other one tomorrow, but I can't leave her out because she actually did a credible piece of work on this as well, and
Queen
it's
of
Queen
Hooks.
of Hooks. And she actually did a video on this, and she actually got a demonstration from a guy who left the camera out on the stabilizers, and he actually shows you by putting these lenses on how you actually get this, how the actual double image, double sun works. So I was just hoping that you might be able to click on the Queen of Hooks and just quickly show that as well, because we will be airing it tomorrow, but she actually did a great piece of work there herself as well.
She was very educational. Mine made you laugh. Hers made you learn.
Yeah. Yeah. Some great work from Queen of Hooks, and just all of the content from the different groups and individuals coming together. As you said, Jeff, just the whole collaboration, I think, really makes a difference. And what this is about is truth. This has been our only crime all along, is that we debunk. It's not always deliberate fear-mongering or deliberate hoaxes or anything. Sometimes people are sincerely wrong. They look at these lens flares and they think that they're seeing a second sun or whatever. And our only crime is trying to demonstrate to people what they are really seeing. And of course, the people who are making money out of this, like the Scott Cohns of this world, find that a terrible threat to their income. And
Yes.
Some people are about the money, some people are about the fame. And obviously Scott Cohn has made quite a business out of this. With how many channels has he got now?
6 or 7,
I think it's 6 or 7.
Plus,
And
he's
they're
got the Blog
monetized.
Talk Radio, the Facebook page, the website.
Yeah. So as I mentioned the other day, talking about this, we had that awesome hangout with Astronomy Live right back at the start, and Scott Cohn joined us. It went very well. We all went away feeling very positive about it. And I think that what happened was, at the end of it, Scott Cohn from Nebular Planet X 2016 thought to himself, "Oh crap! What am I going to do now? My income stream has been debunked." So all he could do was invent the story about having contacted these 2 professors of astronomy from the Pittsburgh University, who he said were going to come on and debunk Astronomy Live and Astronomy Live would have to shut down his channel, and that he would be the laughing stock of town and all the rest of it. Well, of course, I promptly contacted those 2 professors of astronomy because Scott Cohn had very kindly provided me with their names. So I emailed them, and they replied very promptly and said, "No, we've had no contact with this Mr. Scott Cohn. We don't know who he is." And then Scott Cohn subsequently admitted that he had tried to call my bluff. Now, he didn't think that calling my bluff was actually lying, but then subsequently to that, he also admitted, "Yes, I lied to you," he said. And of course, I do have all of that on record.
Yeah, they'll still try to refute that. Because obviously, as you very well know, I did a video in which I took a snippet of the live hangout with him and the particle physicist. And you can clearly hear her say, by her maths and everything that she does in the paperwork, that this brown dwarf system was located just behind Mars. And she goes on to say, how fast it's traveled from its previous to where it is now. And that by calculating the speed and, obviously trajectory, etc., that this brown dwarf should be in Earth's orbit line on the 9th of April. Now she says, give her a day or 2, either way, sort of thing, because the calculations could be off. But she did clearly say that, everybody on the morning side would be able to see this as clear as day on the morning, and then on the night side will see it all night. Now, obviously, the 9th of April came and went. 10th came and went, 11th, 12th, and I think it was about the 14th. I posted it, and I took the snippet, and obviously it would have failed prediction. So I put it online, and he did everything, and he still is to this day, getting someone called Gavin who's been hounding. I think you've seen some of the comments, haven't you, Jeff? Who's just been coming on, hounding every single comment we've had to this with pure filth and vulgarness. And we're talking about, you know, he's saying he's going to put his black suction such down his throats and all that lot, without going into, you know, too much, you know, vulgarity and detail.
Yep.
And he tried to rebuttal it by saying, you know, she didn't say that. She said it's going to be, you know, it's going to take 27 hours. It takes 27 hours to rotate or whatever. But you could clearly hear her own words. And are these people paying attention? No.
Nope. If, well, you know, just here, we'll show my screen for just a couple seconds, Dazza. This is the kind of stuff that these guys do when they get beat. Like this, the day after I released those documents about Scott Cohn, this came up on his Facebook group page, and he put my photo out there, and I cut the part off, but it said who my wife was. You know, it says, you know, like you see on the Facebook, married to so and so, works at so he put out my place of work, he put out my wife's name, he put out my picture, and I don't know if you guys are able to read this clearly, but it says, warning: if any of you have this scumbag on your friends list, block him now. He's gathering information on each and every one of you. He's a piece of crap, stated otherwise, and has threatened our physicist and made death threats. Block his ass immediately. Just go to his YouTube channel and you'll see who he really is. We're about to deal with him very harshly. So he put my name, my place of work, and my wife's name out to 35, 40,000 people. I don't know however many people he has on his Facebook group. And, you know, that he basically publicly harassed me and threatened me, saying that he's going to deal with me harshly. And he's telling lies about me, that, you know, I've threatened his physicist, and I did nothing. I never threatened his physicist. With the help of Team Factor Fiction, we debunked his physicist 3 or 4 times now, but we've never made death threats, any of this stuff. But these are just, you know, this is the level that these guys go to make us look like we're the bad guys, and it's sad. This crap's got to stop. And you know, this did fortunately get removed. I had everybody on the team of Factor Fiction, and I know Sarah Smile helped out, and I'm sure there's others out there, but they all went and they made you know, they filed the grievance thing on Facebook and stuff. Yeah, they flagged it, and we did get it removed, and I'm very thankful for that. Also, Nibiru Freedom Fighter, his video, I think, has been removed now too. But you know, it shows when we come together, we can get things done. But I mean, still, for, you know, a good 24 hours or so, this was being shown to 35,000 people, and that's just it's not cool. That's what they do. You can unshare whenever you want, Daz. I just thought that this made a kind of a good point at you know, what these guys do. Not cool at all.
Thank you, Jeff. And we've just had Astronomy Live join us. Welcome along, Astronomy Live.
Hey, yeah.
Hey, thank you. I don't know if my mic is working here. Can everyone hear me?
Yep, it's fine.
Yes.
And
okay, cool. Yeah. I don't know. I'm not, to be honest, I'm not up to speed on the latest Chris Potter videos and stuff, but Daz extended the invitation, so I gladly accepted. Thanks for having me on.
You're welcome.
Glad you're here.
And just before you go on there, just before you start, AL, I know I just got this live chat up, and I noticed you comment about the dog picture. Yeah, it's my new dog called Meatball, with his 2 paws of fury.
I love it. Paws of fury.
Yeah, well, it's funny, you know, those paws of fury, those 2 fists of fury that Scott Cohn keeps talking about. I find it hilarious with his fists of fury that he finds it necessary to block me. He obviously finds me such a threat that he's had to block me on his channel. He still comes over to my channel, of course, and posts his comments, because I don't feel that he's such a threat that I have to block him. You know, I believe in open and balanced discussion, even from disgusting lowlifes like him that leave the most offensive comments. But obviously, I'm quite a threat to him. So 2 fists of fury indeed.
Yeah, and I will gladly admit that I have blocked him from my channel now, and in fact I'm starting to block all trolls to my channel, because it's just been overwhelming the last couple months. The number of people who have flooded to my channel from his, attacking me as a fraud and everything else, and even worse. And he's made it his mission in life to try to ruin me, I guess, which he hasn't succeeded at, but still, it's kind of disturbing when someone's trying to track down your physical location and do you harm and everything else. And I don't know, should I talk about some of the things that have happened to me? I don't know how much I should say at this point.
Yeah.
So it's entirely up to you. Just say what you think, what you're comfortable with.
Just as long as it's not too inflammatory.
Well, of course not. I mean, but I don't know. I mean, it's been an interesting couple weeks, and I'll simply say that he has managed to upset and disturb more than just myself or any members of my family. People he's tried to reach regarding me and attacking me. They're not concerned about me being somebody they need to deal with harshly or reprimand. They're worried about what he'll do to me, to them. He's managed to cause some concern about his behavior and how far he's willing to go to try to silence me. So this concern is now extended beyond my family now to people who know me, who he's contacted to try to attack me. And, that's just really disgusting to me. I haven't tried to contact his family or, go after him in real life like that. I'm not making threats against him in real life like that. But he's felt it necessary to try to do that to me because he's so concerned about the information that we bring. This is the only way he sees to go forward to silence me is to, try to attack me in real life. So he has tried to get me fired from my job. That hasn't worked. And it's not going to. But I may have to take legal steps to protect myself from him, meaning restraining orders, injunctions, this kind of thing. So, if this keeps up, that's what I'm going to have to do. I don't want to have to go down that road, but, that's what this is coming to. It's insane. And all over a bunch of Nibiru nonsense, it's nuts.
If I can just jump in there, and this, of course, all goes back to what? That very first hangout that you and I did. And what were we discussing in that first hangout? Planet Enoch, right? So his video was claiming that this object that was visible in the stereo imagery, it was stereo, not STO, was what he called Planet Enoch, which was even a new one on me. I'd heard of Nibiru Planet X through the conspiracy sites, but Planet Enoch was a new one. So we looked into that, and we very quickly ascertained between us that it was indeed the moon. So we got together, we did a hangout, you and I together, and we presented the evidence. We didn't attack him, we didn't call him names, we just looked at the facts. And he approached me, and he seemed very sincere. We had that Skype conversation together that evening, and he struck me as being very sincere during our private conversation. And so I invited him to come into a hangout, which we did with Astronomy Live. And what were your thoughts on that hangout, Astronomy Live?
Well, the first hangout I thought was very productive. We offered a lot of information, and he seemed receptive to it. And we parted on what seemed like good terms. And even I was taken under his spell in the sense that I thought he would take on board what we said and revise his statements accordingly. But instead, he sort of did exactly the opposite. And, I forget how long, it was not that long after at all that I started receiving messages where you had told me what he said about me, about the fact that these physicists had supposedly debunked my work, and they were going to make me look like a fool, and I was going to have to shut down my channel and all of this. And of course, that didn't happen. It was all a bluff. It was all a lie. And the thing that he doesn't seem to really understand, even in repeated encounters, is that you can't bluff someone who isn't, you can't try to bluff someone who's holding all the cards. We have the facts on our side. We know we're telling the truth. So when you try to bluff us and say, oh, I've got this physicist off here in the corner, they really know the truth. They really know you've been lying and you've been deceiving people. We know we haven't. So by all means, let's see the evidence. And of course, you've got nothing. And so this happens again and again in this cycle, and he doesn't seem to learn the lesson there. So his response to this is to lash out, make personal accusations that are completely false, and go after people in real life. It's absurd.
Very much.
Yeah. Go ahead, Jeff.
That's I think that's all they have, and I know they know that that's all they have, is just to be bullies and be aggressive and try to convince everybody that we're the bad guys, because I think that they're starting to see that a lot of people isn't buying this whole thing. Look, I mean, I'm in a lot of Nibiru groups. I'm actually an administrator, and I'll give a shout out to Nibiru Countdown. And there's still something in my gut that says, hey, maybe there is something to this whole story. Maybe there is something. I think it's more focused on maybe like the whole ancient alien Anunnaki type of thing, but maybe there is. But even if there is something to the story, there is nothing right now in the solar system. I mean, there's guys like Dazza and Astronomy Live, and there's professional astronomers, and there's physicists, and there's I'm good friends with a couple astrophotographers, because that's kind of one of my hobbies and stuff. And when you have everybody saying there's nothing there currently, then you've got to believe that there's nothing out there currently. And I think they're just modern day snake oil salesmen. They're trying to sell their product through fear. And I think they know that their time is thin, and that's why they've turned to the the aggressive attacks and the sensationalism and getting excited like Chris Potter does and everything, because they know that they're peddling BS, and they know that eventually the truth is going to prevail. I mean, how many times can they set dates? It's going to be this month. It's going to be that month. It's going to be next year. The new big one now. Maybe you guys actually Astronomy Live. I already talked to you about the G1.9 Dragon thing that everybody's that's the new one that I'm seeing all over being pushed. And I think what did you tell me that was? What was that? I forgot now.
Yeah, that's a supernova remnant, and that's actually a recycled claim. That's not. I mean, that might be new in the sense that it's coming back around again, but it's sort of like the Mars hoax of 2003, where Mars came close to Earth in 2003, and then every year after it got recycled. It's that kind of thing. That old message gets recycled every once in a while and gets brought out as the new Nibiru. And so I guess it's making the rounds again, but it's still just a supernova remnant, which is
right. And they're equivalenting, or they're finding, they're trying to equivalent it to the dragon and the red dragon flying in the sky and in the Bible and stuff, and that's what they're using now, is that this is a sign in Revelation, and the red dragon is coming, and the September 23rd thing for like the third or fourth year in a row now. I can't tell you how many times I've heard about that. And if you've actually, because I researched it, because there is, I think it's more of a conjunction than it is an alignment, but there is kind of, this thing going on that only happens so many years. But the fact of the matter is it does happen every 8 years. Jupiter does go into the belly of Virgo. But the thing is the whole is supposed to be in the belly for 9 months. Well, that's not the case. Jupiter goes into the belly, and then it runs retrograde, and it comes back out for like a couple weeks, and then it pops back in again. So, I mean, that blows the whole Jupiter being in the belly of Virgo for 9 months, like right out of the water. Just that simple fact right there.
Yeah,
And,
I'll just jump in there too. Astronomy Live. Now you check back to the last time that happened. When was the last time this happened?
So I found a very close conjunction of the same planets in the same constellation in 1910, and I forget the exact date, but I remember I sent that to you. I think it was October 1910, and there were one or two other instances that were similar, but it depends on what your criteria are, and there aren't really well-defined criteria for this. You know, if your criteria is simply to have this set of planets within this constellation or that constellation, because they'll say that the crown of stars or whatever, these planets that make up this crown of stars in Virgo, some of them, I think, at least at some period during this window of time that they're supposed to be clustered together, are actually in a neighboring constellation. But they say, well, that still counts because it's above the crown of Virgo. So it depends on like where your criteria are. Like, and I'm a stickler for this kind of thing. Like, I want to see, okay, tell me exactly how many degrees from the center of Virgo do these planets have to be for it to count. But of course, nobody has anything that exact. So I tried to find the closest clustering I possibly could, where all the planets were within Virgo and the sun and the moon passed through the constellation and all this. And I found the same sort of instance occurring in about October 1910. So these things have happened in relatively recent human history, not my lifetime, but still relatively recent human history, and the world didn't end. That's not to say that it's not, unusual to see that many planets experiencing that conjunction in that constellation under those exact circumstances. Yeah, it's not every day that happens, but I don't expect the world to end based on it. And I think a lot of the claim that this is it, this is the year that's finally going to happen, started to get kicked off with this book by David Mead that is called Planet X, the 2017 Arrival. And I forget the date he has in that book, but he seemed to be one of the first people I saw pop up claiming that Nibiru was going to arrive in 2017. And his book is based a lot on biblical prophecy, as well as I think some Catholic prophecy or religion. But it starts right off claiming that he saw Planet X, that he knows that it's out there because he saw it on Worldwide Telescope, Microsoft Worldwide Telescope.
Oh, well, that's
and
live.
What's that?
I said, yeah, well, that's live, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And he said that the images came from the WISE survey telescope, which he admits even in the book, was launched in December 2009, and he doesn't really go into great detail about it, but it performed its all-sky survey throughout the year of 2010. Well, if you look up what that object was that he points out, he points out an object that this bright object is close to, the coordinates are close to, in Worldwide Telescope. And if you go over there and look in Worldwide Telescope, yeah, there's a big bright object. Well, if you do the research on it, it turns out that happens to be the position Jupiter was at in 2010 when the WISE telescope was doing its survey. So it's sort of the return of the Saturn echo of IRAS in 1983. So in 1983, IRAS, which was another infrared telescope, was doing an all-sky survey, and it had a limited period of time, about 1 year, to do its mission before it ran out of cryogenic coolant to cool the detector. It's got to get really cold to detect those really long, deep infrared wavelengths. We're talking, far infrared wavelengths, not near infrared. And so to do that, it has to cryogenically cool its detector. And when it runs out of cryogenic coolant, it can no longer see the farthest infrared wavelengths because the detector itself heats up too much. So they had less than a year of time or so to survey as much of the sky as possible. So there wasn't time to wait for the planets to move out of the way. So it caught the planets in the survey, and it basically caught a double image of Saturn. And then they cut that out of later distributions of the data because it's kind of spurious. They don't want to see planets in the data. They just want the stars. So they cut it out of a later distribution of data that Google Sky used. And they said, conspiracy theorists later came along and said, look, they're hiding something behind this box on Google Sky. It's got to be Nibiru. It's on the infrared layer. Well, it turns out that was Saturn. Well, fast forward now to the WISE survey from 2010. Same thing happened. You had the WISE survey telescope with a limited amount of cryogenic coolant. about a year of time to do this, the survey, and it's still operating, yes, but the farthest infrared wavelengths are no longer functional because it is out of cryogenic coolant. So it can only observe at closer infrared or shorter infrared wavelengths that don't see quite as deep into the infrared spectrum as it used to. So when it was doing this all-sky survey across as many wavelengths as it could see with the cryogenic coolant, it caught Jupiter. And Jupiter shows up in the all-sky survey as this big, bright object. And that's what he's pointing out in the book. But he didn't do the research. He didn't look, okay, when was this photo taken? And were there any known objects at that location? And if you do the research, if you look at the date the photo was taken, and you look at whether there were any known objects there or not, there was a known object, Jupiter, pretty obvious. I mean, you know, pretty hard to miss. It's a big, bright planet. It's the largest planet in the solar system.
You're lying, AL. It was a brown dwarf.
Yeah. You work for them, don't you?
Oh, Lord. So, you know, but that's the thing, like, anyone can do this. I mean, if you really want to get, I don't know, really paranoid about it, I guess, you can go and look it up in a library. You can go to a library right now. Many university libraries, just about any university library, is going to have one of these books that has really old orbital elements for the planets in it. You know, methods for calculating the positions of the planets that go back generally to Simon Newcomb in the late 19th century. And you can use those same equations today, and they still work to a resolution better than anything you can see by eye. And so you can see that even, you know, equations going back to the 19th century predict that Jupiter should have been there in that image.
Right.
In the All-Sky survey.
On that point too, Astronomy Live, there's a fairly major event of interest coming up in the United States later this year. And what would that be?
Oh, that would be the Great American Eclipse, as they're calling it, the
3
total
days of
solar
darkness.
eclipse. Oh,
3
boy.
days. About 3 days. And what date will that be, Astronomy Live? Do you recall?
Yeah, I think it's August 21st, and it's less than 3 minutes, not 3 days.
Oh,
wish it
I
was
got it
3
wrong.
So we've got a date for the eclipse, and we've got a starting time, and we've got a window of the time of 3 minutes, and they can actually narrow down the passage of visibility across the United States, where you need to be to see the maximum solar eclipse. Now, this brings out an interesting point, because if there's a brown dwarf sailing through our solar system, screwing everything up, causing the planets all to be perturbed and knocking the Earth off its axis and doing all sorts of, you know, mixing up in the solar system, well, these predictions for solar eclipses and lunar eclipses and other events such as transits and occultations and so on, they should all be screwed up.
Mm-hmm.
But we have predictions for eclipses that go, am I correct in saying hundreds of years ahead, Astronomy Live?
Yeah, basically. And there are old publications, very old publications of what they call eclipse canon that predict this eclipse. And even, I know I've seen a map, and unfortunately now there's, you know, if you search for August 21st, 2017 eclipse map, you're going to find a ton of modern maps. But if you look back far enough, you can find an eclipse map that goes way back on this, and it matches up with the modern maps just fine. And so, yeah, it's been known for a very long time that this was coming. It's nothing new, and it also will occur just as astronomers from a century ago predicted it would, which wouldn't be the case, of course, as you said, if a brown dwarf was sweeping through the solar system and disrupting the orbits of the planets and the moon. Now, some people will point out that astronomers have noticed a strange mystery regarding the moon's orbit where it does appear to be perturbed. But if you actually look at the details of this, what they call the anomalous eccentricity or anomalous secular, is it increase or decrease? It's a change in the eccentricity of the moon over time. It is like orders of magnitude below anything you could see by eye. We're talking in terms of actual distance of the moon, centimeters, you know. It's nothing you can see even with a telescope. The only way they've been able to even detect it is using lunar laser ranging. So using retroreflectors left on the moon, mostly by the Apollo program, and monitoring the moon's distance over many years, they notice gradually over time there's a trend that they can't explain using our current models of the moon's orbit. And so it's a very tiny, tiny effect, though. We're talking, again, centimeters. It's not going to matter as far as timing the eclipse goes, you know, in terms of actual amount of the magnitude of effect it would have on the eclipse, fractions and tiny fractions of a second, you know, nothing you could possibly measure. So in terms of what you look up in the sky and see, the moon's right where it should be. Even if you're using a telescope like mine, an 8-inch Schmidt-Cassegrain, the moon's position is exactly where it should be, according to, you know, books that have been published for decades. The difference in the moon's predicted from actual position is too small to resolve by my telescope or any other telescope you're ever going to look through.
Right.
Since we're on the topic
Also, didn't you do a recent video in regards to the last eclipse we did as well that happened at Astronomy Live? Didn't you do a video where you'd actually show how we would see it, and it did actually occur in the exact way you showed it? That was with the SDO. It wasn't obviously a proper moon eclipse, but there's another word for it. I'm forgetting now. But yeah, if we were showing any signs of, like Dazza had said, you know, that obviously we were perturbing or etc. Blah blah blah. Even into that video, it wouldn't. We'd have seen something different from obviously what you predicted, and what lo and behold, what happened? You know, your video was 100% correct, and I think that'll be a good little thing just to show the viewers.
Yeah, exactly. So that was the SDO eclipse season, and so that's viewed from a NASA spacecraft, the Solar Dynamics Observatory. But it did occur exactly as I predicted.
Can you do one on the moon eclipse?
it was Tony. That was the moon eclipse on the SDO.
No, what was the last eclipse we had that happened? Obviously, the UK got the better sort of look at it. I'm forgetting the name of it now. It's where is it the shadow, the Earth's shadow, or something that causes it?
Well, the total lunar eclipses are caused by the Earth's shadow.
It happened in February or something.
Yeah, the February prediction I made was about SDO. I didn't do a prediction about any eclipse viewed from Earth at that time.
It'll come to me. It'll come to me. We did have a moon eclipse.
There was a lunar eclipse there was a lunar eclipse, I think, in February, because I tried to get it.
Yeah, that's the one I'm talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, but it was
because I actually stayed up all night with one of our subscribers who suffers with cosmophobia.
Yeah, I tried to photograph it, and it wasn't really good. You couldn't really tell any difference in the moon, at least from.
I thought you did a video on that.
I was
live that covered how we were going to sort of see the, you know, how that we're going to project. But if you haven't, then I'm mistaken it. So I do apologize.
Yeah, that's okay. I think you're getting it confused with the.
Yeah, I'm getting mixed up with the SDO that you did. I thought you did the one on the moon. I'm going to say, because that had been a great example to show. But obviously, that in itself, when that happened, that, you know, that went all according to plan, and, you know, it was predicted in the correct way. So if there was any sort of, you know, if we were out of position, everything, that would have seen the signs there as well.
Absolutely.
Now, alongside that same sort of thing, when I first started debunking back in 2011, I think it was, I was introduced to another YouTuber by the name of the Bar Caroller, an Australian guy who would make planetary alignment earthquake watch videos. And he was using a simple piece of software called Sim Solar, which he based his planetary alignments on. And I downloaded that video, that software. It was, I think it was free software for the basic features, and I paid for the upgrade to get the extra features, which showed me things such as the moons of Jupiter and how they would be appearing. Now, that's a very simple piece of software, SimSolar. It does not have any means to update the positions of the planets or the moons. Yet I can still use that software, 6 years later, fire it up and check the positions of Jupiter's 4 main moons, and then go outside with the telescope, have a look, and the positions of the moons will be exactly as shown in SimSolar, even though I've had that software for 6 years and it's never been updated. Now that just goes to show the sort of precision that we're talking about when these predictions are made.
Yeah. In fact, let me share a window here. Let me see. Can you guys see this properly? You might have to set me to share with people.
Yeah, I can see it.
So, and I'm gonna probably totally butcher the pronunciation of the name of this book if I try here. But this was published, as you can see, in the year 1887, 19th century book here. And this is a canon of all solar eclipses up until, I forget the year, but it goes for a few more decades past where we currently are. And this was published in 1887. And you can see here at the bottom, they show that the dark line indicates total eclipse. And so that's what you see here. 2017, the Roman numeral for 8 for August, and then the number 21, August 21st, 2017. That's what this is indicating. And you can see this is the path of the Great American Eclipse cutting right across the continental United States. And so this is the same path you would see if you looked at a chart today. Of course, this being projected from a north projection of the Earth here. But you can see it cuts right across the continental United States, and it is predicted to occur on August 21st, 2017. Now, somewhere else in, I think it's the same book, you can see individual charts for each of these eclipse events, or maybe it's just a selection of them. I forget the deal exactly. I'll keep looking for it, but I'm pretty sure you can find a chart of just this eclipse by itself. But here you can see all sorts of eclipses from 2016, 2009, 2012, etc., where these eclipses were going to occur, and they all occur right as they should, as was predicted over 100 years ago. So yeah, this is not, this isn't a piece of software that someone can edit or manipulate. You can go find this book if you want to really look for it. You can find it in a number of university libraries and see that it does match up with reality.
Astronomy Live, can you post the link to that image in the chat, please? It's been requested there. Thank you.
Sure.
I even remember as a kid going and we would go camping at a campground called Camp Killarney in the Irish Hills here in Michigan, and they've got a big hill that you can climb up on. It was called Mount Sinai. It was a Lutheran camp, and I remember going up there with my uncle when we were real young, and he would bring his telescope and we'd set it up there. And I remember even the old cardboard, like the pinwheel star charts, where you would turn it for the time of year and it would tell you what's constellations. I mean, these things are very accurate, and they've been accurate obviously for thousands of years. I mean, they've built giant monoliths to these things, Stonehenge for one. I mean, this stuff it doesn't change too much up there, and I think we would notice the slightest little bit of anything that happened in our solar system. I mean, am I wrong? I would say if anything got within the inner solar system, we would definitely feel some kind of huge effect from that, right?
Definitely, yeah. And I posted the link in the group chat within the Hangout control window, but I can't post it in the main chat properly. It blocks me since it's a URL. So I don't know if someone's got better permissions than I do to post that.
I've just added you as a moderator there, so you should be able to post links now, hopefully.
Oh, okay, great, thank you.
Now, there's also, what's it called? Is it New York Henge, or am I thinking of another one? We look down the avenue at certain times. Is it New York Henge, or is it another name?
Manhattan Henge is what they call it. Yeah.
Manhattan Henge, that's the one. So, that's on a particular date within a day or two. You have to remember that we have to have a leap year day every 4 years. Because the year is not exactly 365 days. You've got the extra quarter day, and that adds up. But with Manhattan Henge, people know that on a certain date, plus or minus 1 day, you're going to be looking down that street and seeing the sun setting at the end of it. So if the Earth had tilted on its axis, or if the Earth had been perturbed in its orbit, that would all be out, and it just wouldn't work.
Yep. Exactly.
Now,
that would also apply to, obviously, the other planets that we can see in the night sky, and the stars and the constellations. Any good amateur, can look at the telescope, and they'll be able to see, straight away that the alignment's not correct, and bang, there, presto, But obviously, everything is where it's meant to be, so it just proves the case. And they say that we don't produce evidence, and all I've just seen for the past 15 minutes is solid evidence saying that everything is in the correct place.
yes, it is. Now, at this point, we've been going for just over an hour, so I'm going to look at winding the hangout down, just so that we don't go on too long. So just returning back to, as we started out, talking about Chris Potter and his magic in the trees, and the very good video by Truth Nerd, Jeff, which was very entertaining. And we also mentioned that, yes, Chris Potter did remove that video in question, and he did upload an update video where he gave his explanation. But of course, there's plenty more material in that new video to be debunked, and lots of very helpful sound bites too, I might add.
Oh, yes.
But I'd like to reiterate what I said earlier. Chris Potter, if you're listening, I'd be quite happy to host you, or even talk to you one-to-one via Skype privately, talk to you respectfully as a gentleman. And if you are really sincere and interested in the truth, let's work together. Let's collaborate. Let's try to get to the truth and work out what is what. There is no need for you to be uploading lens flare videos claiming that they are a second sun or Nibiru or a brown dwarf or anything like that, when all you need to do is say, hey guys, would you mind having a look at this and see if you can debunk this before I upload it and make a fool of myself? We can all work together here, work as a team, and try and get to the truth. And we can do it respectfully. I'm not one to hold grudges. I don't always look back. I'll tell you what, even if Scott Cohn turned over a new leaf and I could see that he was sincere, I wouldn't hold grudges against him, because I'm not that sort of person. So that's my message for Chris Potter. And Jeff, have you got anything that you would like to add?
No, I mean, I feel the same way as you do, Dazza. I don't really personally, I guess, have anything against the men themselves, and I'm the same as you. I don't hold grudges. What I do have a problem with is the the information that they're putting out there. They're scaring people. I witness it every day, and multiple groups that I'm in of I think you're familiar, Dazza and Tony, with one person that we all kind of know in one of your groups, VORTEX.
Yeah.
And I see there's a couple others in the Beaver Countdown that I see every day that are constantly can you please tell me what's going on? I'm really scared. What's going on tomorrow? What's supposed to happen next weekend? And I don't think that they're not thinking about how they're affecting people. And what happened to the Chris Potter back when he first started talking to Mari. And I remember his videos was, I know somebody with a telescope, and you can figure this out, and you can tell me what's going on. Well, what happened to that guy? What happened to the guy that wanted to know the truth about what's going on? And I extend the same open hand. I'm definitely not as intelligent as AL or you, Dazza, and I don't have the same knowledge you guys have about the stars and things like that, but the same invitation stands for me too. And I'm sure Tony and AL would say the same thing, that, if these guys truly want to know, just ask. I've done several debunks of the physicist, and, I've had some help from behind the scenes and things like that. But a lot of that stuff, it can be researched. If you want to know the truth, you just research it. All this stuff is available to the public to look, and I'm with you guys. I'll extend the olive branch too. If these guys truly want to know, just talk to us. We're truthers. That's what we do. We tell the truth. And we're not lying. We're not trolls. We're not mean. We're not evil. We're not, Luciferians or whatever they want to call us. We're decent people, and we're just, trying to bring the truth to everybody, because there's people out there that are sincerely afraid. I guess that's it. There's people out there that's scared, and the crap just needs to stop. It really does.
Absolutely. Tony.
Yeah, I'm a bit more what's the word I'm looking for now? Pessimistic than the rest of you guys. In relation to Chris Potter, yeah, I've never really had a problem with him. And from what I can judge, and as I say, he doesn't monetize. If you check on Social Blades, his revenue streams for YouTube is on 0. He doesn't ask for donations, as far as I'm aware. He's not advertising, and I do actually probably see a good, genuine inside, a good, genuine passion inside him to want to know and learn the truth. And then other times, he comes across like, that he just doesn't care. It's all a show to him. But I guess time will tell in that regards. But I think it's also the people that he's aligned himself with. I think with Chris, I think we're all fully aware that he does have, some mental issues. And I think he's easily led. And we all know that Scott is very good. He has got the gift of the gab. He does know how to showcase. He has boasted his advertising background. From the looks of things, he is purely in it for the money. You can tell by, obviously, Social Blades with his revenues, how he's pushing this, advertisements for his hoodies and the freedom, freedom food, etc. He's starting on the donations and that now. And I think for Scott, it is all about, that 10 cents is worth more than someone being scared. And I think Potter's aligned himself and got taken in by a cone. And whether Potter would come and approach us, yes, like I said, I'll be I'll be by your guys' side. I'll offer the olive branch and I'll say, yeah, let's work together. You know what I mean? If you're not sure, come and ask. That's what we're here for. We're not here to critique. We're here to help. But
Absolutely.
Will I see it happening whilst he's with Cone? Nah. But like I said, I could be wrong. Time will tell.
Well, the door is open, Chris Potter. You can contact us. You can contact me, Dazzathecameraman at outlook.com. The door is open. The olive branch is extended. And, as I said, I can promise you that I will be respectful, polite, and try and work with you. Astronomy Live, anything to add?
Well, nothing. I think you guys covered all the major bases. Nothing of substance, I guess, but I'll just say that it's really unfortunate that it seems like we can't have a civil discussion about these matters without it turning very rapidly into a nasty fight. And like Tony alluded to, I think Chris Potter gets sucked into these groups sometimes. Not necessarily that he always initiates it, but he I don't know. He said he was coming to New Zealand a few days ago, and then suddenly he's not coming to New Zealand. I don't know what's going on there, but
and he doesn't lie to his subscribers.
What's that? I'm sorry.
And he doesn't lie to his subscribers. He told us that.
Right. And so I don't know what's going on there, but with Scott of Nibiru channel, I think there's clearly a repeated history here of dishonest actions that mean that I can't take him at his word anymore. Even if he says he's not going to attack me, or he says even if he were to extend an olive branch, I couldn't trust him to maintain that. So I've had to take precautions now. I'm not going to do any more direct debunking videos, and by that I mean I will not take someone's video and do a point-by-point refutation showing their video. I might do videos refuting what they're saying, but I won't mention them and I won't show their video. I'll just do the video addressing the claim without showing the source of where I got that claim. And it's unfortunate I have to do that because I think it doesn't make as much sense when you're doing a debunking video of something that you're not talking about where you're even getting it from. But it's necessary at this point so that those people aren't so upset by it that they feel the need to personally hunt me down, as Scott has said he is going to do and is doing. I've got messages from him sitting here on my phone as screenshots where he says he's got hundreds of people hunting me down as we speak. And while he's probably exaggerating about that, it is also true that he has tried to hunt me down in real life, and he has found my physical location. So I'm not going to be staying in this location you see here much longer. I'm going to be moving out in the next week or two. And I won't be here anymore, and I'm not going to be telling anyone where I'm going. It's unfortunate I have to go to that extreme. It's insane, but for my own safety, I have to now. And so because of that, I'm going to try to avoid poking the bear that is not just Scott Cohn, but anyone who's that crazy to try to hunt someone down because they prove them wrong online. So I'm not going to be doing direct debunking videos anymore. I'm going to continue to do my videos, a lot of live streams. I'm going to be covering the eclipse. I hope to try to test the theory of relativity during the eclipse. I want to try to recreate the 1919 observation of the bending of space-time due to the sun's gravity during the eclipse. We'll see if that's successful or not, but I'm going to try that. So there's a lot of cool stuff to do in astronomy that anyone can get involved in, and you don't have to take my word for it. Anyone can test the things that I've done for themselves. Anyone can observe the SDO spacecraft. They can rent time on a telescope or buy a telescope themselves, observe it, do the math, find out that, hey, these darkenings of the sun going dark cycle, that's really due to the Earth passing in front of the sun. You can figure that out for yourself. You can verify every ounce of it for yourself. You don't have to rely on NASA. You don't have to even rely on me. You can test it yourself. And so, unfortunately, although I enjoy doing those videos, I'm going to have to be more careful going forward about upsetting someone to the point that they feel the need to try to hunt me down or to ruin my life in real life. And I think that says volumes about who has the truth on their side.
Yeah.
Because I don't feel the need to try to hunt Scott Cohn down, even though we know a lot of details about him and we know that he has, an outstanding bench warrant. I don't feel the need to go try to hunt him down and see to it that justice is served. I'm the Batman. No, I don't need to do that. Like, I don't need to try to play schoolyard bully here and ruin his life personally. I don't care to do that. But he feels the need to do that to me because he can't argue based on the facts. He can't, win a debate with me. So instead, he's going to try to ruin my life and silence me that way. And I think that says it all. And it just boggles my mind how so many of his subscribers and followers continue to be deluded by him after seeing the kinds of actions he's willing to engage in. I hope that for many of them, they wake up at some point and realize that they've been misled by this individual and that, somebody who's resorting to those tactics is probably not someone they should be putting their trust in. So by all means, I encourage everyone to investigate these claims for themselves. You don't have to take my word for it. I'm just providing information, and I'm happy to provide that information. But I'd prefer to do it without being hunted down in real life.
Thank you.
That's the thing, Astronomy Live. You see, this is what discredits him, because it's like we'll all know, you'll get a group of people. Even if a group of people cannot agree, they will draw the line, and say, well, if someone goes, well, I believe there's a God, and someone goes, no, I believe there isn't a God. And you can debate and talk about it, but you still can't find that common ground. You both one way and that's it. People will say, well, fair enough then, look, at least we tried. Let's draw the line there now, Let people find, research and find out for themselves. You do what you do, I'll do what I do. But he's not even willing to do that, to track you down so where you've got to move from your home. And that is just absurd. It's a witch hunt, and it should not be allowed. And I'm deeply sorry that you're having to go through this, because you shouldn't.
Yeah.
You know, he should be man enough to be able to say, well, you know, okay, you know, we discussed about it. You know, we discussed this. You're clearly adamant that there isn't a brown dwarf system. I believe there is. I've got a physicist who says there is. You know, we're not going to agree on this, so you just go your way. You know, if you're going to debunk me, provide evidence, but you know, and let people decide then. And then I'll provide
Tony,
my evidence and say what it is, and let the people decide. And draw the line there. He won't.
You can verify this, Tony. Last week, I mean, you were the guy that I was texting last week at 2 o'clock in the morning when I was having a hard time sleeping because my daughter's in the room next to me, and every little bump and noise I heard, it was the day that Cohn made his threat. We're about to deal with him very harshly, and that, you know, I'm not personally afraid of the guy, but you know, I've got 4 kids, I've got a wife, and you know, I mean, honestly, I had a hard time sleeping that night. Every little noise I heard, I'm thinking, you know, did he send somebody up here? What's going on? What's that noise? I jumped up out of my bed 3 times to go check on my daughter. Finally, I just put my pit bull in the room with her. So if somebody was to come through a window or something, he would have been taken care of. But I mean, Tony, what did I tell you? I had my 9mm loaded bedside because I was that upset about it. These guys are crazy. And I don't, you know, I don't have any idea what lengths they would go through to, you know, get rid of us or shut us up or whatever. And that's not right. It's not right that AL has to move.
It could be an empty threat, but it's the followers. The followers, you know, there's, you know, yes. 5,000, 10,000. You know, all it takes is one. What you saw recently with that murderer who got caught, you know, he just flipped over his girlfriend or whatever they were and shot that elderly man, you know, in the head. Right. You know what I mean? And that's what I worry, because the followers to be like that, and somebody could be in a world of trouble.
You've seen the followers get nasty in his chats and stuff, and they do tell us that they're going to hunt us down and you know, beat us up and take care of us and kill us and all this stuff. And I mean, it makes you wonder, every little noise you hear when you're laying in bed, is it one of these followers that's, you know, outside my window? Who knows?
Yeah. I mean, I've had multiple of his people, you know, his followers tell me in chats, they full flat out kill me, that they're going to, not just that they want to, that they're going to kill me. And so, you know, he writes messages like, referring to me, the dude is a fake. We are tired of being the hunted. Now we become the hunter. He's been running his mouth for months. Time for him to go. We have hundreds of people hunting him down as we speak. Those are all word-for-word quotes from Scott Cohn. And I didn't say it explicitly before. I will say it. He called my place of work and tried to get me fired, like I said. He failed, but what he did succeed in doing was scaring the people he called. The people who picked up the phone, and I won't say who, and I won't say where, but I will say that despite never having interacted with this person before, having no prior knowledge of who he is or what he does or anything, and he managed to frighten them within a few minutes' time just by interacting with them without really trying to, simply because that's the kind of character he is, and he can't help himself. He resorts to basically, even if he's not directly threatening you, implying a threat. And he had clearly not only hunted me down, but he was hunting them down too, trying to find out their information, personal details about them, which he already had in hand. And it scared the living bejesus out of them that he already had this information. Yeah. And, you know, he made some really severe accusations about me that are completely false, and they knew, you know, right off the bat, we've known this guy, he's worked for us for over 10 years, it's nonsense. But okay, prove it, you know, email it to us. Let me give you my email address. Oh, don't worry about it, I already have your email address. You've been working there a long time, haven't you? I know that too. Whoa, what are you serious? Yeah, he's a scary dude. And even if he doesn't necessarily show up here, like you said, it's his followers and the people he might suggest something to. You know, he'll say things like that about hunting me down. And, you know, it would be crazy not to think that there's a possibility that one of the people that follow him and read these messages and say, right on, get him, get him, we hate that guy, might actually try to do something crazy. Might actually, you know, try to show up and physically harm myself or someone I know. So, you know, that's why I say I'm not going to do any more direct debunking videos like that. I just can't. For my own safety and not only my safety, but the safety, not even just of my family, but people I work with, because this guy's crazy and he's like hunting them down, and they'd never even heard of the dude before. So it's nuts. It's absolutely nuts.
Right. Well, I'm not going to make that promise.
Off.
I will continue to debunk, and I don't care if it's right out of their videos or not, because like I said, I'm not scared, and the truth needs to come out. There's people out there that are scared of their lives, and they can make all the threats they want, but they're not going to stop the whole community. There's too many of us, and you know, we're all in this together, and they can't stop all of us. You're not going to stop all of us, and we will continue to bring the truth out.
I think you've hit the nail on the head there, Truth Nerd. What we need to do now, from the sounds of things, is we need to unite. Every truther needs to unite. Unite and show that there isn't a weak link, that you can't poke into little fractions and try to split them up to cause in-house fighting. We need to unite, stand together, and we need to fight fire with fire. Maybe we are being a bit too soft. Maybe we should be ringing up the parole officer. Maybe we should be, you know, getting him done with his bench order and stuff like that. Because if he's willing to go to these extents like he's just done to you, and he's done to a few of us, it's only a matter of time before one of his followers, like you just said, will go, yeah, right on, and bang, it could be one of you guys, that's severe, bad in hospital, or even worse. You know what I mean? So I think we really, 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 need to do something. Think about this and act, because the longer we play softy with him, the more he's getting bolder and bolder and bolder. And well, I'll leave it up to you guys. We can always talk about this another time, but something needs to be done, and fast.
Right. Thank you, Tony.
Yeah.
Thank you, Astronomy Live.
Thank you.
Jeff, I'll just get you, if you can, to just cue that video again. We're just going to close out with the, I'm trying to think of the right word. It's not Hall of Fame. That's not the phrase I'm looking for. What am I trying to say, Jeff? All the contributors, the debunkers that you've listed in your video there, I'd just like to run through that part of your video, if you're able to cue that for us.
Yep, I'm ready to go.
Okay, I'll just present you to everyone. Okay, so when you're ready, so we've got fact or fiction here. You just play that when you're ready.
All right.
So these are the different debunkers who are all working and collaborating in debunking this nonsense, which is Nebulary Planet X 2016, lens flares, and so forth.
Right side,
right side up is Kevo, so head over there and subscribe to Kevo. He's got some great videos. Dazza the cameraman, Twiggy, of course. And we've got Astronomy Live, who's live with us here in the Hangout. We've got Queen of Hooks, who has some fantastic videos. Paul Rogers.
He's a new guy on the scene. He is part of Fact or Fiction. He's kind of been behind the scenes for a while, but he's starting to put out some of his own videos now too. So giving him a shout out as well.
Very good. WTF Sky, we've got Murray and Jake. WebTech, shout out for WebTech. Mrs. RD.
She's
got some good stuff.
She's got some great videos, very entertaining. And of course, we've got Truth Nerd, Jeff.
Can I also shout a few out as well? Because obviously I know Jeff didn't manage to get them all in, but I think these are well worth a shout out. We also have Sean Hufford. He's great at Flat Earth, and obviously he has delved into Nibiru side.
Yep,
We've got totally truthful news. We've also got
just pause it.
I think there's one more. Oh yeah, we've got Mr. Brian Coberline, who's just opened up his a new YouTube channel, who's the PhD in physics. And I think I've covered, if there's any more main ones that anybody wants to shout out, I think I've covered the ones.
Got a couple more on this list.
Thank you, Jeff.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
Logan Running. Got Troll. Thought and Memory. Good stuff, Thought and Memory. Joe Casey, another kind of newer guy on the scene. Sarah Smile, of course. Beautiful Sarah. Sean Hufford. Doomsday Debunked. I don't know if you guys have ever read this dude's blog, but this guy is an amazing writer. And he is also working behind the scenes with Fact or Fiction now. That was a good addition that we just added here in the past couple weeks. But if you have a chance to check out his blog, Doomsday Debunked, fantastic stuff. And then, of course, me.
Thank you, Jeff. That's awesome. And so with that, we're going to wrap that up. And once again, Chris Potter, the door is open. The olive branch is extended to you. Come and talk to us. Let's collaborate. And with that, thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Tony. And thank you, Astronomy Live, for joining us. And thank you to everyone in the chat and everybody who is watching.
Yeah,
and
thanks,
let's look forward to doing this again next time. This is Dazza the Cameraman. Thank you for watching.
Good night.